I never dreamed I would have an honor like this one. I had the pleasure of hosting a meeting of your staff in Shenzhen on April 12, and to meet several of you for a briefing in Hong Kong on May 23rd. I hope someday you will have the opportunity to visit Shenzhen to see what a miracle it has become. To understand ZTE, it is useful to understand Shenzhen. 30 years ago, Shenzhen was a fishing village of about 300,000 people. Today, Shenzhen is China's high-tech center, much like Silicon Valley, with 40 million residents, most under 30 years old. When you visit Shenzhen, you will feel optimism and hope, freedom and creativity. It is in the air. The spirit of Shenzhen was born when China's government chose Shenzhen to be the first of 4 special economic zones, SEZ, namely, in 1979. The Shenzhen SEZ was created to be an experimental center for free market companies. Today, Shenzhen is home to many of China's most successful high-tech companies, including ZTE. And the Shenzhen Stock Exchange had over 70 million registered investors. When one recalls that in 1979, everyone worked for the state or an SOE, and there were no private companies. Shenzhen's success is impressive. The concept of the Shenzhen SEZ seems obvious today, but it was revolutionary in 1979. Allow risk takers to develop companies on the free market model, find out if they could stand on their own and serve people better. Learn whether Chinese companies, for the first time, could change the way China does business. ZTE's founder and chairman, Mr. Huawei, was a young engineer at the time, working in China's aerospace sector on general-purpose integrated circuit work. He and 6 fellow engineers saw the Shenzhen SEZ's unprecedented potential, and they leapt at the chance to join this bold experiment. They left their secure position and embarked on this new enterprise. They were pioneers. They had no stable income, but they had vision. The vision was that they want to provide universal telecommunication service to China's undeveloped and rural areas. This was Mr. Hu's commercial vision, not something imposed or mandated by China's government. And from the start, he and his team saw it as a private commercial enterprise. In 1985, they launched their company with an investment of 2 million RMB, about $300,000 from 3 investors, notably a foreign investor from Hong Kong, and set about designing their switch. They supported their research with revenue from contract work for a trading company in Hong Kong. For the next 10 years, we had success in China rural market. In 1987, we launched our first switch, the ZX60, developed many more over the years, and won national respect for our product quality. Mr. Hu's vision was broader, and in 1996, he and his team decided to pursue diversified product, so urban and international markets. This growth plan requires capital, and in 1997, ZTE became the first Chinese telecom company to list on the Shenzhen Stock Exchange market. I grew up in rural areas, and like many of my colleagues, attended college, and I joined ZTE in 1998. We wanted to be part of something new and innovative. My first assignment with ZTE was to help develop our next technology, CDMA wireless system. It was a great time for a young engineer to join ZTE. I knew ZTE's business model was focused on engineering, R&D, innovation. The company was making unprecedented moves including becoming the first Chinese company to enter into the licensing partnership with Qualcomm. And ZTE remains one of the Qualcomm's leading partners to this day. And ZTE was expanding into diversified advanced technologies, including development of a mobile communication system for China and around the world. My first project team was 6 people. By 2000, we had 900 people working on CDMA wireless system. We wanted to compete in China market, which remained dominated by giant Western vendors. Even 15 years after our founding, it was still necessary for ZTE to show China's network carrier that our solution could be trusted. We were able to serve only about 7% of China Unicom's wireless customers, with the balance distributed among Western vendors. But as a consequence, we became the first Chinese company manufacturing CDMA wireless system. Once again, ZTE won a reputation for the quality of its product in the China market. Starting with a simple circuit switch, we had built a core network and applied it to CDMA. That was a state-of-the-art product development. We engineers were quite happy that our internal design actually worked. Our commitment to innovation and product development has paid off. When the world telecom equipment market suffered a downturn in the early 2000s, ZTE's CDMA wireless systems were in demand and helped carry us through. Of course, Mr. Ho's vision was global. In 2004, ZTE became the first Chinese company listed both on the Shenzhen and Hong Kong Stock Exchange. I was assigned to help develop international markets for our CDMA RAM product. We already had learned to become in China's developing market. Partnering with Qualcomm, we logically identified India, Africa, and other developing markets for our equipment. Over time, ZTE's wireless equipment platform has integrated every technologies, from GSM to CDMA to WiMAX, 3G, LTE, and beyond. Our 3G capability carries us through the 2009 economic crisis. Innovation and quality have served ZTE well. ZTE is a free market success story built on innovation to supply and serve the market and to help pioneer next generation technologies. And relevant to your inquiry, ZTE's path has never been government directed. ZTE started as and remains today a company of telecom equipment engineers who pursue commercial opportunity and social responsibility in product innovation. In fact, importantly, Fortune magazine ranked ZTE number 2 among China companies for global company social responsibility in 2012. ZTE started out as a private company with an SOE investment. Today, ZTE is owned by over 140,000 public shareholders, including many of the world's leading institutional investors. ZTE is regulated on 2 stock exchanges, and SOE investment has been reduced to 15.68%. ZTE's board and management are fully devoted to serving the interests of our 140,000 public shareholders. And because most of ZTE's business is mostly international, ZTE must comply with laws in countries throughout the world. While ZTE appreciates its position in China's expanding telecom market, ZTE is focused on its success as a multinational company. ZTE is not an SOE or government-controlled. Indeed, ZTE is China's most independent, transparent, globally focused, publicly traded telecom company. Brief being a global public traded company naturally imposes a set of broadly recognized responsibilities and business norms. ZTE's cooperation with this committee's investigation is one example. In our view, ZTE has set a new precedent for cooperation by any Chinese company with a U.S. congressional investigation. Another important example is the need for multinational telecom equipment suppliers to supply recognized equipment standards everywhere they do business. ZTE was the first Chinese company ever to be fully certified under the most important international and U.S. equipment standards, including ISO 27001 and NIST FIPS 140-2. Not only is ZTE and its equipment fully certified by the leading standard-setting organizations, ZTE actively participates in these organizations, helping to lead the way in advancing standard settings throughout the world, including cyber protect standard. I'm aware of testimony presented to Congress earlier this year, in which the leading cyber protection expert in the U.S. Defense Department and the Department of Homeland Security have advised Congress that the most effective cyber protection is universal application of this equipment standard and trust delivery models. Not only is ZTE's equipment certified according to the most advanced standards, ZTE has offered a state-of-the-art trust delivery model to U.S. telecom equipment purchasers since 2010. Today, ZTE has a place in trust delivery agreement with a highly regarded independent U.S. security assessment laboratories, Electronic Warfare Association, EWA, which provides assurance to any U.S. carrier purchasing ZTE telecom infrastructure equipment that the equipment will be tested continuously throughout its life cycle. The reason experts rely on trust delivery system for cyber protection is that with a reliable trust delivery system, the equipment can be trusted no matter who the supplier is. Trusted delivery systems are vendor neutral. Also, trusted delivery systems have the same effect as highway-speed cameras. They deter illegal activity. ZTE is in the vanguard of supply chain risk management and trusted delivery. Given all that ZTE is doing to promote cyber security, the committee's inquiry whether ZTE may pose a threat to critical U.S. telecom infrastructure is very disturbing for us, as you must expect. The committee's central question has been, would ZTE grant China's government access to ZTE telecom infrastructure equipment for a cyber attack? Mr. Chairman, let me answer emphatically, no. China's government has never made such a request. We expect Chinese government never to make such a request of ZTE. If such a request were made, ZTE would be bound by U.S. law. ZTE is committed to helping this committee and its partners in government and industry to promote cybersecurity throughout our cooperation here and in the future. Let me raise a concern about some legislative proposals that have been proposed recently. Your committee has suggested there are risks in U.S. network carrier purchase of telecom operating equipment from foreign vendors, particularly vendors in China. As the committee undoubtedly understands, virtually all of the telecom equipment now sold in the United States and throughout the world contains components made in whole or in part in China. That includes the equipment manufactured and sold by every Western vendor, much of which is made by Chinese joint venture partners and suppliers. We respectfully suggest that the committee's focus on ZTE, to the exclusion of the Western telecom vendor, address the overall issue of risk so narrowly that it omits from the committee's inquiry the suppliers of the vast majority of equipment used in the United States market. ZTE is a relatively small U.S. telecom equipment supplier in comparison with most of the Western vendors. Sales of ZTE's telecom infrastructure equipment in the United States comprised less than $30 million in revenue last year. Two Western vendors alone last year provided the U.S. market with $14 billion worth of equipment. ZTE should not be focused of this investigation to the exclusion of the much larger Western vendors. We urge the committee to consider a serious concern with several pending legislative proposals designed to exclude Chinese equipment suppliers, directly or indirectly, from the U.S. market. One proposal which would exclude the company named in this inquiry explicitly. Other would exclude any Chinese supplier with ties to China's government. Respectfully, neither proposal will protect U.S. national security as comprehensively as implementation of the trust delivery system ZTE offers U.S. carriers. Proposals that specific Chinese companies be excluded from the U.S. market, either directly or indirectly, would constitute obvious unfair trade practice and are so narrow that they would provide no meaningful solution in support of U.S. cybersecurity. Proposals based on China government's ties suffer from the opposite problem. While the word tie is undefined, it presumably is meant to be applied broadly. If so, it is readily foreseeable that every supplier of U.S. telecom infrastructure equipment, including the Western vendors and their Chinese manufacturing partners, would be found to be tied to China's government. If every vendor with ties to China's market is excluded from the U.S. market, where will U.S. carrier purchase telecom infrastructure equipment? U.S. chipset supplier has advocated that Congress not adopt these exclusionary measures because they would disrupt supply relationships with Chinese equipment purchasers that are vital to the U.S. economy. ZTE alone has purchased over $14 billion in U.S. equipment in recent years, indirectly creating over 20,000 U.S. jobs. We expect to make even larger purchases going forward. Market exclusion proposals are counterproductive, particularly when reliable, more effective solutions are readily available. Responsible federal agency and U.S. telecom carrier has increasingly come to recognize that trust delivery systems render telecom equipment trustworthy regardless of who the supplier is. Respected international commentators have come to this conclusion. For example, on August 4th, The Economist published an editorial making the following points. Just about everybody now makes telecom equipment in China. Banning Chinese telecom suppliers is no guarantee of national security. The answer is to require greater scrutiny of everyone, not just Chinese firms. Government should ensure telecom equipment is secure no matter who makes it, and this will protect networks. Banning companies will not. The economists support the trust delivery model and reject market exclusion to protect national security. ZTE's commitment is clear. ZTE is China's most independent, transparent, regulated, global-focused, public-traded telecom company. We are accountable under legal and social norms everywhere we do business. ZTE's ultimate success depends on our ability to serve as a trust partner for U.S. telecom carrier. No company has a greater stake in promoting effective U.S. cybersecurity than ZTE. And we are readily equipped to help you achieve real results quickly. Our equipment is certified, and we are helping design advanced global cybersecurity standards. Our end-to-end trust delivery system allows U.S. carriers to use our equipment fully confident and remain safe. Mr. Chairman, ZTE respects the committee's responsibility to protect U.S. national security. We came here this morning because we want to help, with the expectation that Congress and the United States government will provide ZTE with an open and equal opportunity to compete in the United States. We believe that ZTE is the most transparent publicly owned telecom company in China, and that ZTE is the best choice to work in concern with the Congress and the United States government and to be a trusted partner with U.S. vendor in the formation of a fully global and free market telecom community. I thank you for the opportunity to appear today, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Zhu, Mr. Ding, for your opening statements. We appreciate the difficulty of a hearing like this in English, let alone not doing it in your native language. So thank you for being here. We have lots of questions from our members, so we want to go as quickly as we can to give you an opportunity to answer some of the questions I think all of the members on the committee have. And I'm appreciating both of you talking about the importance of the integrity of these networks, both in China for your own national security interests and the United States for our national security interests, and I appreciate the acknowledgement of that. We've heard reports, in getting to the point, if I may, that Huawei has come up most recently, that the equipment has been known to beacon back to China. We have not single reports, but multiple reports when it's not supposed to. It would be unauthorized beaconing that they can attribute going back to China. We've also had sources overseas who inform us that Huawei's equipment is not exactly what it appears to be in some cases. There is anomalies that appear to be designed in sometimes millions of lines of code that would allow unauthorized access or other activities on their particular equipment. Can you explain to me, sir, why that might be, and has Huawei designed any of those purposely into those systems or equipment?
Mm-hmm. 我们最近收到多个报告，而不只是一个报告，说使用华为的设备有相关的远程访问的功能，在未经授权的情况下，可以通过远程的访问获得在美国的设备的信息。我们的报告里面还说到，这些方面是怀疑是华为所设计的，有上百万行的代码，能够使这个未经授权的访问成为现实。我想问一下，是不是华为有意设计了这些后门，然后让远程访问成为可能？
主席先生，华为的设备没有后门，我也没有听到你所说的这些问题。华为，你要知道，华为的70%的这个收入都来自于中国之外。华为不会危害任何国家，也不会危害我们的客户。
Mr. Chairman, there's no backdoors in any of Huawei's equipment, and I'm also not aware of the issues you've mentioned just now. In fact, 70% of Huawei's revenue comes from outside of China. Huawei has never and will never harm any country or any of our customers.
事实上，华为在网络安全上面保持着非常良好的记录。作为一个世界领先的和在140个国家经营的一个企业，世界的眼光都在关注着我们，我们是不会做这种事的。我们的设备是安全的。
In fact, Huawei has a very good track record in terms of cybersecurity. As the world's leading company, which operates in over 140 countries worldwide, Huawei will never do that, and our equipment are secure.
Well, I'd also like to point out that there was one particular nation, indeed, that felt so compelled to start a third-party validator because of the possibility of both backdoors and beaconing. I find it interesting that Mr. Ding has no knowledge whatsoever of those activities. And I would point out to Mr. Zhu that there is at least one product that we know that did find a backdoor, and ask if he could explain the purpose of that particular device and that anomaly in the software.
就是我们注意到有一个国家，它是很卖力的呼吁要有第三者来核实这个安全性。 但是我因此感到很奇怪，丁先生刚才为什么表示对我刚才讲的这些情况一无所知？那么另外，我应该指出这个朱先生应该可以给我回答，就是中信公司有一个产品，最近确实是有人找到有一个后门，就想知道你们怎么解释这个情况。
主席先生，最近中兴通讯所有的ZTE 所有的设备终端都是完全按照客户以及国际标准规范进行设计的。最近在美国媒体上的关于我们的一些后门的一些报道，应该是完全不属实的。所谓的后门是一个我们软件的bug， 那么这样的 bug 我们应该在所有的公司中都会出现过，就像微软、Google、苹果公司都会定期和不定期的发出补丁一样，我们也不可能认为这样的软件 bug 是一个后门。同时我们已经跟我们的第三方公司进行了合作，同时进一步的加强我们在软件安全设计上的规范和能力，以更好的服务于美国客户和美国市场。所以我们还是提醒主席来考虑如何加强规范，使得我们的网络安全问题能够有一个更好的解决方案。
All ZTE equipment recently, including terminals, have been manufactured and designed according to the standards laid out by international organizations and by our clients. The US media has made reports about backdoors in our equipment, which in fact are not fact-based. What they have been calling what they have been calling backdoors are actually software bugs. And these are the types of bugs that you find in all sorts of high-tech companies. For instance, companies like Microsoft, like Google, and like Apple have all had these bugs in their software. And that is why we always, like they, periodically and non-periodically issue patches to these software bugs as soon as they're discovered. And I want to emphasize that a bug is not a backdoor. At the same time, ZTE has also been cooperating with third parties in order to strengthen security considerations in the design and manufacture of our software. And we do this so that we can better serve our clients and the markets in the United States. And I hope, Mr. Chairman, that I can remind all of us that I think that the best way for us to proceed is to find ways to strengthen standards for everyone so that network security is better improved for everyone.
Well, one person's bug is yet another's backdoor, and certainly analysts would not interpret it as a bug. It clearly was designed into the program, but that's for maybe another day. I have a whole other series of questions on that, but I wanted to just, one of the issues that was not responded to by the committee, I think is important to, for our understanding, just so we have a comfort level in understanding how this works. Both have acknowledged that there is a Chinese Communist committee inside both of your companies. We have not been able to get any details on the composition of that committee, what influence that committee might have on both management decisions, R&D decisions, hiring decisions. Could you both please describe what the committee's role is in your companies and maybe what influence it might have in the operation of your companies?
"一个人的 bug 可能是另外一个人的后门。对于委员会来说，我们觉得这些所谓的 bug 是明显设计到设备里面去的。这个问题我们可以以后再探讨。但是有一个之前问卷里面的问题是我们没有得到回应的，就是有关于党委的问题。 两家公司都承认说，在你们公司里面是有党委的，但是没有跟我们能够详细的说清楚党委的组成对管理、研发以及招聘上面的决策，党委有什么样的影响？那么是否能够跟我们解释一下，在你们两家公司里面的党委是一个什么样的角色，有什么样的影响？
主席先生，我非常愿意回答你这个问题。但是在回答你这个问题之前，我想纠正一下你前面的一个陈述，就说我并不知道这个华为的公司